Greetings. Today we'll do a Moorish legend, then we will do a tooth for a tooth demonstration, and then I want to go through a whole lot of different clippings in regards to the Moorish Science Temple. Someone was getting ready to try to bomb it, different places that was bought through the Moorish Science Temple from Kirkman Bay. There's a lot of good little clips, man, so you got to wait to the end for those. A Moorish legend. A Moor, being on the eve of setting out on a pilgrimage to Mecca, entrusted his money to a man who had hitherto borne a reputation of unblemished probity. His fortune consisted of 2,000 pesants. On his return, he was not a little surprised when the reputed honest man denied all knowledge of him or his money. The pilgrim entered a complaint against him, entreated the judge to help him to his property, and took his oath on the truth of his statement, but all in vain. The old man's good name outweighed all he could say. The plaintiff was non-suited and went away in despair. He met an old woman who was toddling along with the help of a staff. Touched by the stranger's grief, she stopped him, hailed him in Allah's name, bade him take heart, and listen to his unvarnished tale. "Be of good cheer, young man," said she. "Maybe with the law's aid I shall get back your gold. Do you buy a chest and fill it with sand or mold? Only let it be bound with iron and well locked. Then choose 3 or 4 discreet men and come to me. We shall succeed, never fear." Oh, the mother getting involved now. The Moor followed her advice punctually. He came with 4 friends, bringing a chest, which the strongest porters could scarcely drag along. "Now follow me," said the old woman. On reaching the floor of the supposed honest man, she went in with the Moor's 4 friends, bidding the latter wait below, and not make his appearance until the chest had been carried upstairs. She now stood in the presence of the hypocrite, where she introduced her 4 companions. "Behold," said she, "here are some honest Moors, about to make a pilgrimage to Egypt. Their treasures are boundless. They possess, among other things, 10 chests of gold and silver, that they know not where to stow away at present. They would entrust them to safe hands for a time. So I, well knowing your honesty and reputation, have brought them hither. Pray fulfill their wishes." Meanwhile she had the heavy chest brought in, which the pretended honest man gloated over with greedy looks. But just then the despoiled pilgrim rushed in, impetuously claiming back his 2,000 pesants. The faithless dispository was frightened lest the young man should reproach him with treachery in the presence of strangers, who would then take their chest with its untold treasures, which he had already determined to appropriate to himself. "Be welcome," he cried to the Moor. "I was almost fearing you would never come back, and was puzzled what I should do with the 2,000 pesants. Allah be praised, who has brought you back safe. Here's what belongs to you." Don't mess with mother. Don't mess with mother. That's a fact. The Moor went away with his treasure, as triumphant as though he were carrying off so much booty and prize. The old woman begged the master of the house to put this first chest in a safe place, while she went and ordered the rest to be sent. She then went off with her 4 companions, and of course never returned. Islam. Now let's go to this next demonstration. Tooth for a tooth. The forcefulness of native customs in Morocco. In Morocco, Balad el Maghrib, the land of the setting sun of the Moors, the lex talionis is as much as an integral part of the social system as are life and death. The Moors, it may be said, are frankly brutal. They have a certain rude code of honor. I mean, truth can be brutal. But justice can be brutal. But love, peace, freedom, them are great. And truth is great if you can take it in and accept it without your mind and brain turning to water. The Moors, it may be said, are frankly brutal. They have a certain rude code of honor to which they adhere when convenient. But among themselves they devise every possible excuse for not fulfilling engagements with Gior. That don't sound like a Moor to me, though. On the other hand, they are extremely punctilious and exacting full measure from Europeans, with whom they have dealings, and many stories might be told showing how Moorish judges mete out justice to their own people to detriment of the alien. For instance, It is not very long since that British subject riding through the Soko or marketplace at Marrakesh had the ill fortune to push against a half-blind old woman who, falling to the ground, broke off 2 of her front teeth. Now here we get into, let's put up the scale and let's weigh this out, brothers and sisters. Let's see what these Moors was on. The Englishman promptly offered compensation. It was refused, and the injured woman before the local Qaid demanded that her aggressor should have 2 teeth knocked out in retribution for her injury. That's what she's demanding, the victim. So it ain't like it was just a mob trying to bully him or punk on him. That's what the victim wanted. Protest followed on protest against the exaction until finally the matter was carried to the Sultan himself. That potentate, in this instance, is given to show the fullness of native customs, begged the Englishman to comply with the old woman's demand and publicly sacrifice his teeth, in return for which oblation he granted him concession, which have made that English merchant and his family foremost among the wealthy foreigners in Morocco. The Sultan knew the Englishman was running around in Moorish jurisdiction, done knocked over an old Moorish woman, so he wasn't going to go against the Moors. But man, he lost his teeth, brothers and sisters. Chicago temple bombing averted by curious woman. Chicago, May 6th. This is 1930. Chicago, May 6th. A woman's inquisitiveness prevented a bombing of the Moorish temple last night. The woman passing by wondered what was in a truck parked behind the temple. She walked into the alley. Noble Ali says stay out the alley, so this was in Unity Hall right here after the Prophet passed. They was still using the Moorish Science Temple in Unity Hall where the truck was parked, and looked into it. Then she ran screaming for a policeman. Inside the truck, she found 40 sticks of dynamite. Percussion caps had been attached. The woman's unexpected arrival apparently frightened away the bomber before the bombing could be consummated. In the houses of many old Moorish families, there may be still seen a great key installed in a place of honor. It is the key of their old home in the days when the Moors dominated that country. Moorish fighter ends 4 years exile on Far Island. Madagascar, May 16th. Abdel Krim, the last Moor to attempt re-establishment of a native empire in Morocco, is nearing the end of his 4th year of exile in the faraway island of Reunion, 500 miles east of Madagascar. The Indian Ocean sits and smiles at the ex-chieftain of the Rif, who put up the successful fight for many months against the French and Spanish armies until he surrendered May 26, 1926. So what you think, Moors? You think Noble Ali heard about this Moor on the island? He was promptly hurried off the scene, mournfully and all, to be forgotten and to forget. You hear this, brothers and sisters? 1926. Everything possible has been done to make him feel like a French colonist. He goes where he likes and does what he likes on Reunion, but there is a gendarme of officers to see to it that he boards no boats. As he remains a great personality in the Arab world, he occasionally has visits who come from Africa to do him honor. So that ain't the Arab world, that's the Moorish world. It being the policy of the French government to keep on good terms with all elements in the Moorish world. These visitors are treated with consideration and given its freedoms of the Isle. As Reunion is almost entirely wild mountain country, there is plenty of room for the diversion of kings, so Abdel Krim and his gendarme companion keep in trim by hunting. Reunion is on the whole a happier island than was St. Helena. Abdel Krim is a Muslim and a fatalist. As it said, he was a member of the Rif. So this Abdel Krim, I wonder if that's where Creme de la Creme come from. But nonetheless, man, plans new republic. Morocco, July 20th. Abdel Krim, chief of the Moor rebels, has asked all other Moorish revolutionary chiefs, according to word received here, to help him organize the Rif Republic. Abdel Krim proposes that the republic will coin its own money under the National Rifian Bank. So we'll have to go study the National Rifian Bank. Moroccan officials recently arrested the chief of the Algerian settlement at Gart because of local troubles. The demand of the French minister for the release of the Algerian was refused, the Sultan claiming that all Muslims, the moment they entered Moorish territory, came under his jurisdiction as Caliph of Islam. So in the Americas, Noble Drew Ali was the Caliph. The George Clark estate has been sold to the Moorish Science Temple Corporation of New York. The Moorish people come from Morocco. The man in charge of this organization has been an interpreter on Ellis Island for several years and can speak 8 different languages. Who you think that sounds like? Frog Eyes, right? The old kitchen in the L of the congregational personage has been renovated and finished, and is to be used as a community room for meetings of the young people and members of the society. The meeting of the Ladies' Benevolent Society, which was held on Wednesday afternoon, was held in this new community room. What happened to the auxiliary? On his release, Rasul interviewed Mohammed El Torres, representative of the Sultan at Tangier, concerning the restitution of his property, and this being without avail. Rasul swore to take the law into his own hands, with the result already known. Rasul said that he bore no ill will towards Europeans, but stated that the only way to bring the Moorish government to its sense was by capturing Europeans until the foreign powers awakened to a realization to the existent conditions. You hear that, brothers and sisters? He was ready to go all out. Mohammed El Torres, Tangier, September 14th. Mohammed El Torres, who was chief of the Moorish delegation at the Algeciras Convention, passed today. He was former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Islam to this brother, to this Moor, for all the good that he did. And I hope that he mastered all his negative vibrations and he perfected and unfolded into perfection. And he's with Allah. Islam to Mohammed El Torres. Now you're about to see some fire, brothers and sisters. Will seek for oil, syndicate to operate on North African shore. And we're speaking about the Moorish Empire. It speaks of the Moorish Empire. A company has been found in London under the title of the Anglo-African Petroleum Syndicate Limited for the purpose of discovering, developing, and exploiting the petroleum fields of Morocco. And exploiting, brothers and sisters. This is proof right here. You could put this on record in any tribunal. It is practically certain that a merger will shortly be effected between this company and the Anglo-Moroccan mining company already in the field, which with an increased capitalization will make a strong working company for the development of Morocco's mineral wealth. For who? The European? The Articles of Incorporation and bylaws of the syndicate give it the power to take a hand in the development of almost any natural resource of the Moorish Empire, brothers and sisters. Again, the Anglo-Moroccan and Anglo-African syndicates, you know what I'm saying? Noble Drew Ali had bylaws and he had Articles of Incorporation. So that shows how powerful it is. They was doing it on a usurping vibe of stealing birthrights, but Noble Drew Ali was doing it on a high vibe, so it was the real deal. So I found this clip. This is Clark's. This is like, I guess, an auction, right? And it's giving you the details from the collection of Senor Raimundo Ruiz. And he says that he has the treasure of the last Moorish king of Grenada. And that's what he's selling. So this Clark's auction was selling the treasure of the Moors that was taken over by Christendom, by murder. You know, blood on the treasure and all. Senor Raimundo Ruiz. I hope your money burnt up in your pocket. And I hope whatever collectors is holding it today, I hope it curses you and your whole family, man, because that's wrong, bro. It's got blood on it, brothers. Dissension arises. A year ago, the first national convention of the Moorish Science Temple of America was held in Chicago. Dissension arose in the ranks with a struggle for leadership. Why was there a struggle? Everybody knew Noble Drew Ali, so there was no struggle for leadership and interpretation of rules of worship. A bitter quarrel ensued between Noble Drew Ali and his chief assistant. One day last spring, a group of worshippers attacked the assistant to Noble Drew Ali right in front of the mosque and beat him so severely he died. Nobody got into trouble outside of a court trial. The next, Noble Drew Ali himself joined his ancestors via the knife route. So they just told you right there. And this was what? Last spring. And they're saying Noble Drew Ali passed from a murder, a knife wound. The FBI clip that I showed you says Noble Drew Ali passed outside of the temple doors. And we know Noble Drew Ali was chased around the temple with a knife. So did these Moors watch Noble Drew Ali get chased and cut and stabbed or murdered and didn't do nothing? Noble Drew Ali's influence grew with martyrdom. His successor propounded the idea that Negroes of North America are descended from Moorish nobles. In the middle of this month, the second annual convention of the Moorish Science Temple was held here, and members from many parts of the land attended. Belinda found an obscure notice in the Sunday paper saying a Moorish princess was hiding in Chicago. "That's her," she shrilled. "They always say you're better hidden in a crowd." Just then, a black man dressed in yellow satin with his head swathed in a huge turban sauntered down the steps of the wagon, mouthing fiercely and waving the children away. They withdrew to a safe distance and made faces at him as he squatted on the lowest step and regarded them languidly.